Part 20. I am the strongest officer of the Straw Hats. Author, Super Red. Chapter 192. Brontosaurus. Enlil raised his hands, dense thunder and lightning gathered in his hands, and a huge thunder dragon rushed out quickly. The wind blade collapsed, and the thunder dragon went straight to Kaido. Hot breath. Kaido opened his mouth and spit out a mouthful of flames. Boom. The huge roar sounded again. The people who had just come back to their senses were stunned again by the shock. Enlil. My ears are going to be deafened by you. Luffy shouted loudly. Cover your ears. Enlil has no time to pay attention to other people now. Kaido is more powerful than he expected. If he is not careful, he will really die. It's better for us to leave this guy's fight. Sanji said from the side. A few of them are not afraid, but others are not. Not everyone can participate in this level of battle. Everyone, get out. Leave here. Katsutsuki Hiwa quickly shouted loudly. Everyone get out of here. Kinemon also shouted. Everyone left immediately and quickly. Such a terrifying battle is not something they can participate in. Damn it, I want to fight too. Luffy looked at Enel and Kaido in the air with hatred. It's a pity that he can't fly, otherwise he would definitely go up and fight him. Luffy, Baiyu warned you, you can't use the 8-door dungeon before you understand the ultimate intention Kung Fu. Robin opened his mouth to remind Luffy. I will definitely understand the ultimate freedom of mind. Luffy said loudly. Boom. There was another roar in the air. While they are still testing, hurry up. Sanji shouted loudly. Nima, do you think such a terrifying attack is a temptation? This is the strength of the four emperors. The title of the strongest creature is no joke. That thunder and lightning guy is so strong. He can actually fight Kaido. Stop talking nonsense. Run. Tornado. After Kaido roared, the dragon's body quickly circled, and several huge tornadoes were quickly generated around it. The wind roared. Many people were directly blown into the sky by the tornado. Run. Don't get caught in the tornado. This is simply a natural disaster. How to fight this? Too strong, is this still human? Many people were so frightened that they fell to the ground. This tornado is a bit troublesome. Sanji frowned. If I could open 8 doors of Dungia, I could blow away these winds with only 7 doors. Luffy has the idea of opening the 8-gate Dungia. There must be a reason why Baiyu doesn't let you use the 8-door Dungia, because you now rely too much on the 8-door Dungia. Sanji said from the side. The tornado is handed over to us, you take them and leave first. Wei said. You. Sanji and Luffy looked at Wei strangely. Although the strength of these 3 women is not weak, it is still a little worse than them. They can't do anything about the tornado. What can these 3 women do? Don't forget my identity. Nami said very proudly. Thief. Luffy blurted out. Bang. I'm a navigator. Nami punched Luffy directly. Then leave it to Miss Nami, Kinemon, follow us, don't fall behind. Sanji shouted and rushed out quickly. We will not leave the princess behind. Kinemon shouted loudly. I'm fine, Kinemon, protect the others and get out of here. Kojiki Hiri shouted loudly. She believed in Nami, Vivi, and Robin. Yes. Kinemon took the order and led everyone quickly away from the battlefield. No one can escape. Kaido roared angrily, opening his mouth and preparing to spit out hot breath. Thunder God's sword. Enlil roared, and the long sword condensed by thunder quickly stabbed Kaido. Although Kaido's defense was very strong, such thunder and lightning still made his body pause and he did not attack. Okay, Robin. Wei shouted, and she quickly turned into a huge fan. Robin's body also quickly appeared with arms one after another, wrapping the body continuously. The body also grew rapidly, becoming an oversized giant. Nami. I can only hold on for 10 seconds, hurry up. Robin immediately shouted loudly. Found it? Enola, get out of the way. Nami took out a large 500 belly coin, with lightning flashing all over her body, and flicked it with one finger. Boom. The orange beam flew towards Kaido with a powerful shock wave. Robin, who had turned into a giant, grabbed the huge one that Vivi had turned into. Fan. The armed haki of the two people activated at the same time. The huge arms waved the giant fan. Boom. The wind roared. The terrifying hurricane rushed out with dense wind blades. The orange beam was like the eye of the hurricane. The tornado is here in front of the violent hurricane, there is nothing. It is instantly swallowed up and turned into the power of the hurricane. Tornado, bad wind. Kaido quickly fell to the ground, his dragon body hovering and spinning quickly. Densely packed wind blades flew out in all directions to resist this terrifying hurricane. But it was completely useless. The hurricane swept across Kaido's huge dragon body. The powerful wind pressure hit the dense wind blades and instantly blew Kaido away. Kaido was blown away. These three women are so terrifying. Fortunately, I didn't offend them just now. So scary. What kind of people are we fighting? Everyone in Wano was frightened. The 9 heroes of Red Sky were no exception. Even Luffy, Sanji, and Eniro were frightened. None of them expected that why the transformation technique can still be used like this. Robin can actually become bigger than the giants. Coupled with Nami's perception of the weather, it is simply an unsolvable combination technique. I am the strongest officer of the Straw Hats. Author, Super Red. Chapter 193. Ghost Island. Chopper faced thousands of people alone. He endured a battle that he shouldn't have to endure with this bounty on his head. Turtle Pai Chi Gong. Chopper didn't even have the strength to shout. He has no energy left. Everyone, come together and catch the civet cat. Mud. Labor and management want to eat civet cat meat today. Kill him. A group of ferocious pirates rushed towards Chopper with red eyes. They were really enraged. A mere pet of the Straw Hats could cause them to lose so many people. If Kaido finds out about this, they will all be finished. You are going too far. Chopper was very angry and took out a blue wave ball. He was ready to teach these guys who still regarded him as a civet cat. Forget it, there's no need to deal with these people. Bayou suddenly appeared next to Chopper. Bayou. Woo. After Chopper saw Bayou, he returned to his normal state and started crying. Okay, stop crying, can I help you vent your anger? Bayou picked up Chopper. Him, and him. They wanty. As if he was a child who found his parents, Chopper pointed at the people who shouted the loudest just now. New. Bayou nodded and floated slowly. He raised a hand and pointed to the sky. Those who bully our Straw Hat pirates will be struck by lightning. Bayou's words fell. The dark clouds in the sky gathered quickly. Lightning strikes. Crack. Thunder roared. Then, dense thunder and lightning fell suddenly. Thousands of people were directly submerged in the sea of thunder. Have you vented your anger now? Bayou asked. You can obviously kill them instantly, why do you have to let me fight them alone? Chopper is very aggrieved. His reward was only 100 UN, but now he has to do a job worth hundreds of millions. Isn't this to train you? After you go through this battle, if the Navy catches these people, they will definitely increase your reward. Bayou said immediately. Really? Kyoba's eyes lit up. Of course, I promise it will go up. Bayou promised. Bayou, you are the best to me. Chopper hugged Bayou, and he dared to move. Boom. A huge roar came from a distance. It seems like it's getting busy over there, let's go and take a look. Bai said as he opened a door in the air and walked in. As soon as he opened the door, he was a little confused when he saw the scene. What are you doing? Group fight. Bai's eyes widened. Who are they beating whom? Chopper also couldn't understand. Big Mom and Kaido were fighting, and then Zoro was still fighting Big Mom, and Ace and Jinbe were fighting Kaido again. Ace and Jinbe were also fighting, only Brook Man is there playing guitar with Skeleton Soldier. Bai, you are finally here. After Brook saw Bai, it was as if he was seeing a relative. He quickly told what happened. Ace and Jinbe found a place to fight. When I was having fun, the ant fell from the sky. The two of them couldn't fight again. Fortunately, Zoro and Brook supported Big Mom. Just as the two of them were about to fight, a blue dragon flew over again. After Kaido transformed into human form, he quarreled with Big Mom. Ace saw Kaido and immediately attacked. Jinbe was not idle either, but Ace is fire and Jinbe is water, one lights the fire and the other extinguishes the fire. Brook just tried to persuade him when he was kicked away by several people and hid aside to play the guitar. Forget it, they are all children in front of you, forgive them, or why don't you give them all a curse spell? Bye. You said with a smile. Forget it, I'm afraid they'll take off my skin, even though I don't have any skin, yo ho ho ho. Brook's unique skeleton joke. Wait for your time to show off. Bai patted Brook on the shoulder. Brook's skills are very strong, but he is a bit weak in one-on-one combat. Of course, this weakness is compared to the Yonko level. Kaido. Your death has come. Kaido. The army of Wano is coming. Lingling. Stop fighting and go back to Ghost Island first. Kaido shouted loudly. The Straw Hats are already in trouble, and with the addition of these people from Wano country, it will be even more troublesome. We must go back and make long-term plans. Leaving now. Bai looked at Kaido with a smile. Bai, if you have the ability, come to Ghost Island and challenge me. If I lose, I will take my people away directly. If you lose, as long as you join my pirate group, I can let these people of yours go. Kaido shouted loudly. You're not stupid as a big guy. If I agree to you, wouldn't I be able to kill you? Bai sneered, still want to play word games with him? Then tell me the rules. Kaido said loudly. Rule? Only a fool would challenge you. There are so many people here. If you want to challenge us, you can challenge us all. Bai is too lazy to challenge Kaido in a one-on-one fight. Kaido is so fleshy that even the Navy can't do anything about it. Even if he wants to take down Kaido, it will definitely not be easy. There are so many people here, why bother to fight Kaido stupidly? Duel. Asshole. Come to a Nagashima if you can. Kaido gritted his teeth angrily, but did not take action directly. Bai. I won't let you go this time. The ant looked at Bai bitterly. It's good if it's thick, and the knife won't kill you. Bai. You said with a smile. His defeated general dared to threaten him. Asshole. Auntie is so angry that she wants to run away. Lingling, let's go. Kaido transformed into a blue dragon and flew to the Ghost Island with Big Mom. Bai, why did you let them go? Beat them away. Luffy shouted loudly. Do you think you are dealing with the minions? Bai looked at Luffy helplessly. Even if I face these two guys, it will be very difficult, and if we fight here, Wano country will be gone. With their level of fighting, it's really not that difficult to destroy Wano country. Then let's go to Ghost Island and fight them off. Luffy was very anxious. He didn't catch up with the battle just now. He will catch up no matter what this time. Good. Now that Kaido is injured, we rush to a Nagashima to kill them. Kinemon shouted loudly. Kaido is injured? Who was injured? Baiyu looked confused. Although the strength of the 9 heroes of Red Sky is pretty good, he really wants to hurt Kaido. At most, it will only break his skin. It is estimated that he has recovered by this time. It's the combined skill of the three of us, how about it? Awesome, right? Nami looked at Baiyu very proudly. Awesome. Baiyu nodded quickly. Although the strength of the three women is good, it is still not enough to hurt Kaido. The strongest creature is not just something to talk about. Hiyori-sama, please give the order. Kinemon shouted loudly. I. Kojiki He hesitated for a moment and looked at Baiyu. After she saw Kaido's strength, she was already a little scared. These people have absolutely no resistance in front of Kaido. It is simply impossible to kill Kaido. You guys, with your strength, can't even beat our chopper. Why do you still want to beat Kaido? Baiyu said very directly. Chopper. Vice Captain, you praise me too much, I don't deserve it. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I am the strongest officer of the Straw Hats. Author, Super Red. Chapter 194. Baiyu's words were like a knife inserted into the hearts of everyone in Wano country. When they faced Kaido just now, they had no ability to resist at all. The only choice is to escape, without the help of Vivi, Nami, and Robin. Not only would their entire army be wiped out, they would at least lose more than half of their army. Even if you save us, you can't even think of humiliating the samurai of Wano. Kinemon shouted loudly. You guys can really steal the show. If you think it's humiliating, then it's humiliating. Baiyu discovered that among the 9 heroes of Red Sky, only Kinemon was always talking and always stealing the show. You. Kinemon, stop talking, Shirahasama has no need to humiliate us. Kojiki Hiri interrupted Kinemon's words. Lord Baiyu, we also know that we are not strong enough, but even if we die, we will fight Kaido to the end. Denjiro said through gritted teeth. Although we are not Kaido's opponent, we can at least injure him and help you. Ji's Hishin also spoke. What you said is correct. If you work hard, I believe you can indeed cause some trouble for Kaido. Bye. You said and shook his head, then have you thought about the future? After. Everyone in Wano country was confused. They are all dead, where did they come from? If you all die, who will help Princess Hiri govern this broken country in the future? Baiyu's words were like enlightenment, waking everyone up. Although the Hitan Orokai is dead now, there must be many minions of the Hitan family, and those people will never let the Kojiki family comfort control the country of Wano. If all of them die in battle, it will definitely be difficult for Kojiki and himself to control the entire Wano country. Shirobasama, everyone of the Straw Hat Pirates, Hiri asks everyone to help Wano country. Kanzuki Hiri said that he was about to kneel down. Baiyu waved his hand, and Kojiki Hiri was imprisoned and unable to move. I beg you all to help our country of peace. We will never forget this great kindness. The 9 heroes of Chixiao knelt down. Everyone else also knelt down. Baiyu, let's help them. Wei said from the side. Get up, all of you. Baiyu said. He said so much, not to let these people kneel down and beg for mercy, but to let these people know the gap in strength. Let the people of Wano know that only the Straw Hats can save them and save them. This country. Only in this way can they truly keep this kindness in their hearts. Since you believe me, then listen to me in everything. You immediately clean up all the Hitan family members in the Flower Capital. Publicize the crimes of Black Carbon Orokai and let all people know the truth. Afterwards, each of the 9 heroes of the Red Sky led a team of people to patrol the major ports in Wano. If any suspicious persons were found, they would immediately arrest them. In addition, some people were left in the palace to protect Princess Hiri. Baiyu began to issue orders one by one. What about me? Kojiki Hiri asked. You are the future queen of Wano. As the only descendant of the Kojiki family, your role is to stabilize the people. Your mission lies behind. Baiyu said. It is not difficult to defeat Kaido and clean up the Hitan family. What is difficult is to open the country of Wano and connect this country that has been closed for hundreds of years to the world. This is the most difficult thing. Then Kaido and Big Mom. Hiri Kojiki was very worried. The strength of the four emperors is too terrifying. You don't need to worry about this. You just need to do what I arranged. Prepare for the banquet by the way. Remember to cook more meat, prepare more wine, and prepare some marshmallows. Chopper likes it? Baiyu said with a smile. Baiyu. It's so kind of you. Shoppa happily hugged Baiyu's face and rubbed it. That's it, let's go. Don't you want to fight the four emperors? Baiyu said and pushed open a door in the air. Kaido is mine. Luffy yelled, clenching his fists, and rushed in. You idiot Luffy, don't fight with me. Zoro immediately followed him. Kaido is mine. Ace rushed in. Comparing speed with me. Enilu didn't even use the door, he just used his ability to disappear. I also need to teach that old woman a lesson. Jinbei walked into the door. Boom. Baiyu kicked Sanji into the door, who was about to speak, hurry up. After the last few people entered the door disappeared from the air. Can they really defeat Kaido and Big Mom? Kinemon is a little confused. It's not that he doubts the strength of the Straw Hats. It's because Kaido is too powerful. They will definitely win. We will act immediately according to Lord Baiyu's instructions. Kojiki Hiri clenched her pink fists and cheered for the Straw Hats in her heart. At that time, the Wanli sunshine. Fortunately, I ran back. Usopp finally breathed a sigh of relief. From such a distance, he could feel the intensity of the battle. Usopp, when will you be bolder? Little lowly Meili appeared next to Usopp. Meili, how could you say that to me? I came here specially to protect you. Usopp immediately felt a little embarrassed. Being called timid by a little Lolita made him feel a little embarrassed even though he was so thick-skinned. Are you really back to protect me? Mary tilted her head and looked at Usopp in confusion. Of course. Don't worry, Meili, I will definitely protect you and the Wanli sunshine. Usopp quickly assured loudly. That's great. A smile appeared on Meili's face. Then she raised her little hand and said, those people want to destroy our ship, go and fight them off. Usopp looked in the direction that Mary pointed, and his eyes were immediately scared. At least 100 people were walking towards them. Frankie! Help! Usopp shouted loudly. There's someone on the pirate ship. Do it quickly. Catching the Straw Hats was a big achievement. No one can compete with me. Do not talk nonsense. Quick victory. After the people from the CP agency discovered Usopp, they took action immediately. Frankie! Usopp was so scared that he almost cried. Super! Iron Man appears. I am the strongest officer of the Straw Hats. Author, Super Red. Chapter 195. There are people. Be careful everyone. Hearing Frankie's voice, the CP members leading the team immediately stopped their actions. Because they were facing the Straw Hat Gang. Except for the little girl Mary and the pet Chopper, the Straw Hat Gang had the lowest bounty. Billion. Even the reward for that little girl is 80 million Baileys. There is no simple one on this ship. Frankie flew high into the sky and landed in front of the CP members. I am super awesome today. Super. Frankie. Usopp was so moved that he almost shed tears. This is for you, it should cure your timidity. Frankie threw a small disc to Usopp. What's this? How to use? Usopp asked doubtfully. Put it on your heart and press the middle one. Boom. Frankie was punched before he finished speaking. Don't you know it's rude to interrupt someone else? Asshole. Frankie Iron Fist. Iron. Bang. Iron Fist knocked the member out for 3 or 4 meters before stopping. Poof. The man spit out a mouthful and then fell to the ground. In what age are we still using iron blocks? Frankie shook his head. Boatman, Modman Frankie. This guy's reward is more than 500 million belly. Don't be careless, come together. The leading CP member shouted loudly. All CP members immediately took action. Wait a moment. Frankie raised his hand and shouted. The CP members were stunned for a moment. Super Iron Man transformation. Frankie pressed his nose and shouted loudly. Is this guy a fool? You can shout it out so loudly when you are so ashamed. You are really a pervert. It seems like you haven't transformed. Idiot, you really transformed. CP members saw a liquid-like object appear on Frankie's body and quickly cover his body, forming a pair of shining armor. Amazing! Usopp exclaimed, his eyes shining brightly. This suit is much better looking than the previous one. All the bells and whistles. Do it! CP members immediately took action. A group of ignorant guys, let me show you the power of nanotechnology. Frankie Iron Fist. Frankie yelled and raised his arms. Let me try your Iron Fist. The CP member leading the team immediately launched a shave and rushed towards Frankie. But Frankie's fist did not punch out. A small warhead appeared on his arm. Whoosh! The warhead flew out. Even a mere bullet can hurt you. Boom! A huge explosion sounded. The leading CP member flew out with his whole body scorched black. How despicable! The faces of CP members are very ugly. How childish! Frankie Iron Fist. Bang! A CP member was knocked out. To be honest, you still don't believe it, it's so sad. Frankie wiped away tears that didn't exist at all. Kill this bastard. Lanja. Flying finger gun. CP members directly launched long-range attacks. Frankie raised his arm, and his arm immediately turned into a huge shield, blocking all attacks. Frankie Iron Fist. Frankie raised his hand, and then a laser light flew out. You knew what this bastard said was false. Go catch the 2 people on the boat first. Seeing that they couldn't take down Frankie in a short time, the CP members went directly to attack Frankie and Mary on the ship. Frankie didn't stop him. Those 2 guys were much scarier than him. Frankie, how do you use this? Usopp quickly asked loudly. Press the middle button. Frankie yelled. Bang! This distraction was punched again. Asshole! Why do you always hit me when I talk? Frankie was very angry, and the cannonballs on his body fired wildly. When Usopp heard Frankie's words, he quickly pressed the button. Something like a liquid appeared from the disc in his heart and quickly covered his whole body. When the CP member slashed Usopp's body with a knife, causing sparks to fly. Bang! Usopp punched the man away. I actually have such great power. Usopp looked at his fist, a little surprised. This is the power of the nano suit, he can control it as he wishes, just like this. Frankie said as he held his hands together, and a big knife quickly condensed. Then electric current wrapped around him. Poof! A CP member was cut. You can also cover the armor color Haki and impose the defense and attack power of the suit, just like this. Frankie said while demonstrating for Usopp. Amazing! Usopp was very shocked. Putting on this suit, even an ordinary person would become extremely powerful. The CP members also saw the power of the steel suit and deeply understood it. Stop it, you two. If you dare to take action, I will kill this little girl. A CP member caught Melee. You're already dead and you're still threatening me. Usopp's voice changed. You are finished. If you don't get that guy out, you can still live. Now it's finished. Frankie knew that when Usopp's voice changed, it was the Yanchuanging Eagle personality that appeared. Under the Yanchuanging Eagle personality, even Baiyu would feel horrible about Usopp. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm not talking about that. Before the CP member finished speaking, a bloody hole appeared between his eyebrows. No sound happened at all. Frankie, your suit is good, leave the rest to me. Usopp said. Well, don't get blood on the boat, it'll be troublesome to wash. Frankie said as he returned to the boat and threw the body out. We can't let the boat get dirty. Kill him. The CP members roared and rushed directly towards Usopp. Why do you think you can kill me? After Usopp's words fell, there was no sound. The terrifying nature of the silence fruit was revealed at this moment. Melee, don't look. Frankie sighed and covered Melee's eyes. Yanchuanging has a very strong personality, but he is also very cruel. I want a nano suit too. Melee said. No problem, leave it to Super. Frankie immediately promised. After a moment, none of the CP members were alive, and the seaside was stained red with blood. Usopp was wearing a steel suit, holding a knife in one hand and a gun in the other, standing like a demon. On top of the corpse. I am the strongest officer of the Straw Hats. Author, Super Red. Chapter 196. Boom. Boom. A melee has begun on Ghost Island. Luffy, Ace, and Zoro fight against Kaido. Enel, Jinbe, and Sanji fight against Big Mom. Brook faced off against the pirates of the Beast Pirates alone. The number of people has no effect at all in front of the Necromancer. Baiyu took the three girls to watch the show. Dealing with two Yonko at once is not a grand event that anyone can see all the time. Damn flies. Lingling. Kaido roared. After hearing Kaido's call, Big Mom immediately came to Kaido's side. The two stood side by side, waving their weapons forward at the same time. Dominate the sea. The two shouted in unison. A huge shockwave went straight to the Straw Hats. Not good. Baiyu was shocked. He had forgotten that these two guys had combined skills. The shockwave was very fast and had a wide range. It came to Baiyu and the four of them almost in the blink of an eye. The 81 of the binding Dao breaking the sky. The powerful shockwave hit the shield formed by Duan Kong. Click. The shield formed by Duan Kong actually cracks appeared. Fortunately, the shockwave has disappeared. But this blow also injured 6 of Luffy and the others. Descend to the third world. Introduce Naraku. Kaido in the form of a dragon soared into the sky, and the huge mace slammed down with black lightning. Boom. A huge deep pit was smashed into the ground. Go and see how they are doing. As Baiyu said this, he pulled out the knife from his waist and looked at Kaido seriously. Didn't you say there are many of you? Now let's see who has more people. Kaido looked at Baiyu very proudly. It's just the two of you, come on together. Baiyu didn't care at all. Although it was a bit troublesome for him to deal with these two people, it was just trouble. Thunder Gossip. Kaido launched a direct attack. Break the blade. Auntie also came down from the sky with a big knife. Shura. Open. Baiyu immediately unleashed his full combat power. Facing two Yonko-level opponents, even he did not dare to be careless. Jinbeluo's blade burned with terrifying flames, and was also entangled with thunder. The armed color was domineering, and the overlord color was domineering. Twine. Killing God. Baiyu waved his sword with both hands. The black slash struck out. Boom. Kaido and Big Mom were instantly struck and flew away. You actually have a domineering attitude. Kaido was very surprised. The last time he fought against Baiyu, he didn't know how to use the Overlord's domineering entanglement. Now he can use it so skillfully, it's incredible. You don't understand the life of cheating. Baiyu's voice fell and disappeared instantly. He had to kill someone first. Lingling, be careful. Kaido shouted and rushed over immediately. Divine punishment. White Yu appeared on top of Auntie's head and struck down with a knife. Auntie quickly raised her knife to block Baiyu's blow. Black lightning was everywhere. The ground under Auntie's feet also began to crack. Kaido also rushed over at this time. He picked up the wolf. Dental stick saves the ant. Kaido, if you care so much about this fat woman, your relationship should be more than just being on the same boat, right? Baiyu looked at Kaido with a smile. This guy kept calling Lingling so kindly. Who would believe him if everything was fine? It's none of your business. Kaido waved his mace and rushed towards Baiyu. Is your daughter Yamato the result of you and this fat woman? Baiyu said while avoiding Kaido's attack. Shut up. Kaido was very angry. I'm just talking, why are you so angry? Is it because the ant has brought you so many cuckolds? It shouldn't be, you've been cuckolding so many times, you should have gotten used to it by now, right? Baiyu's face was full of smiles, completely ignoring Kaido's anger. I kill you. Kaido's eyes were blood red, and he raised his mace and hit Baiyu. You can't kill me now. Baiyu sneered and appeared behind Kaido instantly. Poof. Blood spurted out in front of Kaido. Kaido. Auntie roared angrily and rushed towards Baiyu. Remember your old lover. Baiyu continued to carry out psychic attacks. You shut up. The ant waved the sword crazily. You've done everything and still don't want anyone to tell you. That's right. Your sons and daughters are all gone now, right? Baiyu continued. It's you. Where is my family? Auntie shouted loudly. Who knows, he may have died or abandoned you and ran away. Baiyu shrugged and said, you're not a good mother anyway. Will not. They won't abandon me. How dare they abandon me? The ant stopped attacking and held her head in her hands, feeling very painful. Let me help you get rid of it. Baiyu held the handle of the knife with both hands, his domineering aura wrapped around him. He swung the knife and slashed. Bang! Kaido appeared in front of Baiyu and blocked the knife. You are so despicable. Kaido was very angry. We are in a hostile state, and those who lose are despicable, and those who win are bright. Baiyu sneered. No matter what his methods are, as long as he wins, it's a good method. This is a life and death battle, not a normal sparring match. I am going to kill you. The ant picked up the big knife and slashed at Baiyu. Boom. The ground under Baiyu's feet shattered instantly, and cracks continued all around. At this moment, Baiyu felt that the silent aura of destruction in his body reappeared. And it was still absorbing them. The overbearing haki produced by the battle between three people. Strictly speaking, it is the absorption of the haki of Kaido and Big Mom. The dominance is disappearing. Kaido's eyes widened, and he quickly withdrew his domineering power and quickly escaped. But now the ant has almost lost her mind. She only thinks about one thing now, hack Baiyu to death. And Baiyu also feels uncomfortable, because other people's domineering power has been destroyed. How can it be good if it is inhaled into the body? Puff. Baiyu spit out a mouthful of blood, and his breath quickly weakened. Good chance. When Kaido saw Baiyu was injured, he immediately picked up the mace and rushed forward. Roll. Baiyu will make a knife, and the destructive power will appear instantly along with the slash. Poof. Kaido's mace covered with two-color haki was cut off instantly, and a huge wound was cut on his body again. If it weren't for his high physical strength, this time he was cut into pieces. What power is this? Kaido half knelt on the ground, covering his wound, very frightened. He knew that this was definitely not the domineering haki, this was a more terrifying destructive power than Whitebeard's shock fruit. Go to hell. Anti slashed at Baiyu. Baiyu's whole body burned with terrifying flames, and all the flames merged into Jinbeluo's blade. No fire appeared on the blade, as if nothing happened. Baiyu slashed out with the sword. Boom. Terrifying flames it struck along the tip of the knife. The flaming slash struck out, and Anti's body was cut in half instantly. But the flaming slash did not stop. Onigashima was cut in half, and the slash rushed into the sea. Cut the sea in half, and then disappeared. And Anti's body was also swallowed up by the flames. Under the terrifying high temperature, it quickly turned into a pile of coke. And Baiyu also spit out a mouthful of blood and fainted. I am the one who wins in the end. Kaido stood up with support on his body, picked up the broken mace, and prepared to pierce Baiyu's head. At this moment, a golden light appeared. The one who wins in the end may not be you, Kaido. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I am the strongest officer of the Straw Hats. Author, Super Red. Chapter 197. The golden light fell, revealing a slender figure. Damn it, it's you. The familiar figure made Kaido's pupils shrink. Didn't you expect that the Navy would also get involved in this battle? And he still does the last job of picking up trash. Wrapping up the Overlord's domineering energy, inside the broken mace, Kaido had a rare look of fear on his face. Under normal circumstances, it wouldn't matter to him even if the Navy's combat power came out. Anyway, he was not captured by the Navy. However, these guys can't kill him at all. But what kind of power did this guy put into my body? It could actually prevent my body from recovering. Kaido glanced at the fainted Baiyu fiercely, his heart sank to the bottom, but his face still pretended to be calm and mocking. Eradicating evil is the mission of the Navy. Fujitora, wearing a lavender yukata, appeared behind Kizaru with a sword in hand. Again. But, I am immortal Kaido. A breath of arrogance rises from Kaido. The domineering aura is wrapped around the mace. Even if only half of it is left, it is still majestic. Thunder gossip. The lightning-shrouded mace danced in Kaido's hand as fast as an after-image. With the force of overwhelming tension, it hit Kizaru with a heavy sound of breaking through the air. Oops, I'm so scared. It's such a terrifying power. It deserves to be called the strongest creature on the surface. Kizaru shrugged his shoulders, and there was no trace of fear on his wretched face. Tiankongyun's sword. The golden photons accumulated in Kizaru's hands, forming a dazzling lightsaber. In the blink of an eye, they met Kaido's powerful and heavy attack. With the speed of light and particle fluctuations, the lightsaber is perhaps more powerful than not as good as Kaido. But his speed is definitely far better than him. If he were at his peak, he could still use his strength to break magic and smash every living thing into pieces. However, after consuming a lot of physical strength, Baiyu's destructive power still remains in his body. It's really true. Unable to resist, he stumbled and flew backwards. He hit the ground heavily, bringing up smoke and dust all over the ground. Cough. I said, I am invincible and can never be killed. Kaido walked out of the smoke with red eyes and a beast-like aura lingering all over his body. How terrible! Despite being so seriously injured, it had no impact at all. Speaking casually, there is no trace of fear on his face. Photon bomb. The attack on his hand didn't stop at all. Countless golden light particles bloomed from his hand, like a tracking missile, aiming and shooting at Kaido. In order to wash away the slander that Baiyu had framed for him, the paddling champion Kizaru worked hard in a rare way. Get to work. Fish fruit, phantom beast species. Kaido's eyes lit up, and he stretched out his figure, transforming into a mighty dragon form. Heat off. Scorching breath spurted out from his mouth. The breath was so powerful that the attack range could reach several kilometers. It instantly enveloped all the photon bombs inside. Rumble, a burst of lightning and fire, and the result of the battle was not yet known. What ferocious attacks followed one after another. Thunder. Wind blade. The deafening dragon roar rang out from Kaido's mouth. The brilliant white thunder was triggered by the roar and fell from the sky, turning into a piece of thunder and lightning. In the thunder and lightning, endless wind blades swept across. A strong blade that can tear all armors. As soon as it appeared, it directly distorted the strong wind. The wind and thunder were intertwined, helping each other, and the power was increased by more than 100 times. This guy seems to be fighting for his life. Even if the injury was serious, it was still a desperate blow from the four emperors. Not easy to deal with. Kizaru's wretched old face, concealed by yellow glasses, finally revealed a fearful look. Under normal circumstances, he would have taken advantage of Fujitora. But with the power to clean the shit basin that Baiyu buckled on his body, Kizaru had no choice but to bite the bullet and fuck it down. 8-foot Megatama. He turned into photons and jumped into the sky. The power of the shining fruit bloomed on him. Countless dazzling light bullets burst out from him and bombarded towards the thunderstorm created by Kaido. Roar. The sky-shaking beast roar sounded from Kaido in the dragon form. Kizaru quickly alerted, as if he was ready to fight desperately. In his prepared eyes, endless clouds and mist rose from the sky, and the dragon-shaped Kaido dragon he grabbed Yunwoo with his claws wide open, and then, ran away. This guy actually grabbed Yunwoo and ran away in front of everyone. The most powerful creature, Kaido, who went to the Navy headquarters several times to seek death and attack, actually, he ran away after meeting. Kizaru looked stunned. When he came to his senses, Kaido had already soared into the clouds and flew far away, leaving only a dragon tail. Okay. After indirectly killing Akainu, he released it with his own hands. Let's go to Kaido. The dirty water splashed by Baiyu was not washed away, but became darker. Kizaru's face darkened, and he was about to turn into a photon to chase. The next moment, a generous hand came on his shoulders. Kaido can't run there, so the top priority now is to get rid of this guy first. Fujitora, with his eyes closed tightly, moved his gaze towards Baiyu, who fainted and fell to the ground. Although his eyes could not see, the domineering sight and sound were enough to replace all his vision. He waved his right hand and raised his cane lightly, and the target was clearly the Wu in Baiyu's hand. The fastest sword, Kinkenra. In any case, this sword can only be controlled by the Navy. The eyes may not be good, but the speed in Fujitora's hands is not slow. The cane pops out with lightning speed, and in an instant he was about to touch Jin Kunluo on the ground. But there was someone faster than him. An extremely sharp slash flashed, directly blocking the way of the cane and knocking him back. If you mess with our deputy captain's knife, he will be really angry. Holding the fused second-generation ghost in his hand, Zoro slowly walked out. Behind him were a lot of Straw Hat members. Are you all okay? Fujitora's face darkened, and he had a bad feeling in his heart. Kizaru, let's take action together. Let's deal with that guy first. At the worst, we have to get that thing back. Gravity knife, tiger. After quietly informing Kizaru, Fujitora took the lead and rushed forward. The sword was pulled out, and strong gravity accumulated on it, and Fujitora swung it out in one breath. A huge lateral gravity was generated on the track, even if there was no, the objects affected by the slash were also knocked away by the huge wind pressure generated by gravity. How scary that so many people came. He said fearful words without hesitation. Golden particles bloomed in his hands, and he rushed towards Jin Kunluo at Bayu's hand. He wanted to take advantage of the chaos to fish in troubled waters and get the things first. The 30 million volt Thunderbird beam particles were about to approach the long knife, but were stopped by a phoenix-shaped Thunderbird. The speed of light is indeed well deserved, but the speed of thunder is no joke. I am the strongest officer of the Straw Hats. Author, Super Red. Chapter 198. Come and experience the power of God. Qinghai people. Enilu, who was holding the golden stick, looked arrogant. After Bayu lost his strength and fainted, no one restrained him, and the second soul of the sky started to burn blazingly again. 30 million volts Thunder Beast. 30 million volts Thunder Beast. 60 million volts Brontosaurus. The golden stick beat the big drum behind him crazily, and the raging thunder turned into ferocious thunder beasts. In the blink of an eye, they occupied Enilu's side, making him look like thunder coming to the world. Although the words are unreasonable, in reality Eniru, who had fought with this wretched man before, knew clearly that this guy, who was also an elemental devil fruit holder like himself, was definitely not someone to be trifled with. Oops, it's really scary. I'm so scared. It's been a while since I last saw you, and it feels like your strength has reached a new level. Kizaru rolled his dead eyes and said fearful words without any sincerity. While his face was full of salt, he quietly used the maximum strength on his hands. Last time, he received so many punches for no reason. He has not forgotten the experience. 8-foot Megatama. Endless brilliant golden light bloomed from his body. The whole person turned into particles and jumped up, exploding in the sky and turning into endless dazzling bombs. After pulling away, he launched a long-range covering strike directly towards Enilu. It can be said that Kizaru is quite afraid of Enilu's last move, the Pegasus Meteor Fist. He would not be stupid enough to fight head-on until he thought of a way to break it. Bang bang bang. The Thunder Beast collided with the light bullet. The collision of photons and thunder, the powerful force brought about a loud noise that shook the sky and the earth, lasting for a long time. The solid ground seemed particularly fragile in the face of this power of heaven and earth. After being devastated by Bayu, Big Mom, and Kaido after that, a new test soon ushered in. Gravel was flying everywhere, sand and dust were flying, and everything in the impact was flattened. On the ground, large and small cracks began to gradually appear, and there were even more cracks on the edges. A lot of sand and gravel fell directly into the sea. Such a large island seemed to be about to disintegrate. This can't go on like this, the situation must be broken. Fujitora, whose eyes were closed tightly, but the color of what he saw and heard covered the whole place, couldn't help but feel a sinking feeling in his heart. Let them all take action. The opportunity must not come again when it is too late. After a long time, both sides were injured, and Bayu, who was most afraid of it, fell into a coma. Although Eniru and Zoro suddenly appeared, which was somewhat beyond the plan's expectations, it was not that it was impossible. The degree of recovery is still within the controllable range. Fujitora's heart condensed and he made a judgment. Get that thing back. The main purpose of deploying so many people from the Navy headquarters this time is to use this supremely fast sword. We must not miss it. Momo Yosagi and Tajiki, who were following Fujitora, quickly took action. Although they lost Jin Kunluo and Sui Sui after using their weapons, their strength was greatly reduced. Especially Peach Yosagi, they no longer had the strength to even kill Kaido and could only tickle him. However, with their superb swordsmanship, as elite lieutenant generals, you can still do it by torturing a weak rookie. Hello. I told you, the deputy captain hates it the most when others touch his things. Thinking of Bayu's expression after knowing that others had stolen his things, Zoro couldn't help but shudder. Itoriu Iai Shishi Elegy. The second generation Kaititsu inserted it into his waist, holding Zoro with Wado Ikemanji, and waved it forward with all his strength. In the lightning and flint, a sword-drawing slash that was hard to see, even the flash of the blade was on the field. There was a sound, and he slashed towards the peach rabbit who was torturing the vegetables. "Boy, I can't tolerate your distraction while I'm fighting." A slash that is so fast that even light cannot be reflected is indeed not detectable by the naked eye, but it is still difficult to escape Fujitora's perception. Gravity swordsmanship. Gravity knife tiger. The powerful gravity was released from his hands. While using the sword to accumulate gravity, he also slashed out with great force. Every slash was hit by a powerful gravity. Although it was not as crisp and agile as Sauron's swordsmanship, his skills were outstanding. The weird gravity perfectly makes up for these shortcomings. Every collision of a slash carries a powerful and weird gravity attack. Weightlessness, overweight, gravity, and repulsion, alternately. It is obvious that the level of swordsmanship is not weaker than that of the opponent, even he still needs to be much stronger. But he has the guts to hit cotton with a punch, and the feeling of strength cannot be tested, which makes Zoro hold back a burst of internal injuries, which is extremely uncomfortable. He wants to use Shura's sword to break through the blockade, but the cowhide on the opposite side, the sky is like candy, just don't fight him head on. Every time you rush in, you will be affected by his gravity. While avoiding the fight, you keep harassing him. Although my confidence has really risen, I can definitely beat him. But in this situation, at least in a short period of time, it is difficult to find a breakthrough. He is worthy of being a swordsman who can defeat Hawkeye. His strength should not be underestimated. Today's young people are really becoming more and more powerful. Fujitora tightened his grip calmly, his trembling hand could not help but admire in his heart. However, fortunately, the timing was chosen in time, and Kizaru also used his full strength seriously. With him and me holding these two guys back, there should be no problem for Peach Rabbit. Fujitora has just made a plan, and is ready to happily receive the golden kunluo. A sudden change occurred. Several black bullets pierced the void. Bang bang bang, if it weren't for Muto's sharp perception of the swordsman. The body was faster than the mind, and they struggled to prevent the water from being splashed by the long knife in their hands. These dark bullets would definitely penetrate their eyebrows. Even so, they also left several gaps on the long knife. Lost. After marrying Jin Kunluo, her strength declined more than just a little bit. Who is it? You are, Upso. Looking in the direction of the bullet, a familiar figure came into view. Sniper goggles, light brown turban, long nose. Every feature is exactly the same as the one in the bounty, but there are some unfamiliar ones that Doubtu dare not confirm. In the impression, Upso is so cowardly that he cries at every turn. But now his face is extremely cold, and his body exudes a strong murderous aura, like a god of murder walking out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. How dare you touch the vice-captain's things? Do you like dying? A cold voice sounded from him, before Doubtu could speak. The muzzle of the gun lit up, and several black bullets pierced the void and appeared in front of them. The two people, who had seen the power and hardness of bullets, lost their after getting the supreme knife. I didn't dare to fight against the knife, I could only turn around and parry. Things are getting more and more troublesome. No, we can't use fueling tactics anymore. Fujitora's appearance is no less impressive than that of Enilu. Naturally, he has a panoramic view of the two people who are only able to parry under Upso's attack. I am the strongest officer of the Straw Hats. Author, Super Red. Chapter 199. He obeyed his authority in a hurry, and did not care about taking advantage of the chaos and planned to reap the benefits. Prepare to capture Big Mom and Kaido after the war. Kill the chickens to scare the monkeys, deter the intensifying pirates on the sea, and give the sea a peaceful plan. He quickly uncovered all the Navy's layout. Plan to use the power of thunder to quickly calm down the situation to prevent unnecessary complications. No matter what, you must hold Jin Kunluo in your hand. A stern look flashed across Fujitora's face. Woo-hoo-hoo, the roar of warships resounded loudly on the sea. In the distance, on the originally empty blue sea, after a burst of light spots refracted and distorted dots, suddenly large numbers of tall warships appeared, covering the sea surface, as densely packed as snake scales. People with trypophobia will definitely shudder when they see it. Surrounded by hundreds of warships, 20 giant drones, the domineering ship stood eerily. The people on it were as thin as ants, and at a glance they were hundreds or even thousands. 38,972. Your navy is really generous. Enilu, who claims to be a god and whose mind covers the whole place, read out the specific number with a single thought. 20 giant ships, a total of 20,000 people, and there are more or less separate numbers on the surrounding warships. Hundreds of people. Such a terrifying number that one person could spit and drown himself. Oops, that's really scary. He counted all the people so quickly. What a scary guy. Photons bloomed in both hands, and while fighting against the thunder beast of Eneru, he curled his lips obscenely. He is very cowardly in words and very brave in his hands. He is worthy of the Flash Kizaru. Double the strength of the demon-slaying order. Having revealed all the cards in his hands against Big Mom and Kaido, is it possible that Zoro put so much pressure on Fujitora? With the help of his glasses, the look in Kizaru's eyes became obscure. The green algae-headed swordsman on the opposite side, are you sure you still want to fight me head-on? If you don't help them, they and your deputy captain's bodies will perish under the gunfire. Fujitora's deep voice rang in Zoro's ears. He raised his cane slightly, gave up sword fighting with Zoro, and pointed at Upso, who was fighting Momo and Usagi not far away. All the guns on the warship turned their heads. As if the target is all towards Upso and the others. Tisk, despicable guy. Zoro glanced at his mouth disdainfully, holding the second-generation Kaititsu, with the word Wado in his heart, and the underworld Kyushui, he directly activated the three-sword style state. Zoro was fierce, with sword energy, and his eyes were slightly narrowed. Totally serious. The secret of three-sword style one-sword Shura. The extremely powerful sword intention, like a purgatory Shura, swung forward with the will to cut off everything. He was caught off guard, and if it weren't for the gravity fruit, Fujitora would have almost died under the sword due to the gravity deflection. But, Rao was in this way, Zoro also left a deep scar on his arm that could be seen in the bone. Fortunately, he was not a swordsman who majored in swordsmanship. He was ranked among the generals due to his fruit development ability. Although his strength was slightly affected, he could barely still within the tolerance range. Don't you even care about your companions? There is still the body of your vice-captain there. Fujitora's face was slightly condensed, and the sword in his hand was flying rapidly, barely coping with Zoro's increasingly fierce attack. Although he is not as paranoid as Akainu, he is not absolutely white. In order to achieve his goal, he does some despicable means. Within his code of conduct. Of course you have friends to save you, my mission is to kill you. Fujitora read this message from the other party's determined eyes. Not good. The originally confident heart suddenly realized that something was not right. In the distance, the dark gun barrel had already lit up with red light, and powerful electromagnetic force was also surging on the warship. I saw that in the next moment, thousands of cannons would fire together, destroying everything. Completely destroyed by the endless metal storm. The proud son of heaven, the city wall made of iron, dragons roaming, lions roar, tigers roar, wolves run, cut off the heaven and earth before collapse, binding Deo 81 breaking the sky. As the young voice sounded, a huge barrier across the sea suddenly appeared. Bang bang bang, artillery fire roared, and the metal storm's ground-washing attack hit it, causing the light curtain to tremble. Is this what you rely on? That is double the firepower coverage of the demon-slaying order, a saturation attack that is enough to annihilate the island. You don't think that you can stop them all with just a shaky light curtain, do you? Fujitora, who was well aware of the power of the demon-slaying order, wanted to laugh at the green algae-headed brat's ignorance. However, a vague bad feeling in his heart made him speak more tentatively. What he responded to was a question. Long's determined eyes and increasingly fierce swordsmanship. Deolu 11 Hui. The two sword-like tornado rushed back like a rhinoceros horn. Forced, he had to put aside his worries and concentrate on using the gravity fruit to resist and parry. Yo he he he, it seems it's time for me to appear. Amidst the devilish laughter, a skull and bones wearing a suit, a bow tie, and an afro head walked out with steps that he didn't recognize. The power of the underworld fruit spread, and a strong power of death emerged from it. Summon skeleton soldiers. Summon the skeleton knight. Summon the skeleton mage. Summon the skeleton lizard. Summon the bone dragon. Unmeasurable white bones emerged from the empty ground. After struggling for 2 trembling steps, they flew towards the warship surrounded by stars like moths to the flame. Endless the wave of bones, for a time, actually covered up the momentum of the sea. With the appearance of a huge bone dragon, the raging bone wave showed signs of slowing down. Roar! The white bones are covered with pitch-black spikes, and the ferocious dragon head looks up to the sky and roars. It's not an easy guy to deal with at first glance. Frost breath. Using the cover of the skeleton, the bone dragon breathed an extremely cold breath towards a warship as soon as it appeared. The air was frozen with the breath of ice. It avoided the main ship and hit the surrounding warships. A face-to-face, destroyed a navy ship and increased the hatred value. Cut. I can't let you show off all the time, it's my smart Frankie's turn. Frankie Iron Fist. With a loud roar, a small warhead rushed out from the curtain of light that cut across the sea, and hit the naval fleet with a long flame tail. Bang, the small warhead made a huge explosion sound and flames. During the roar, many Navy soldiers jumped off the ship to escape. And there I am. Super electromagnetic gun. I'm coming too, look at my 1,000-hand Guanyin, welcome. There's no other way, so I'll help out, water escape, water dragon bite. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I am the strongest officer of the Straw Hats. Author, Super Red. Chapter 200. The powerful electromagnetic field, under the galloping water dragon, carried countless attacks and rushed towards the Navy warship with irresistible momentum. The overwhelming attack was mixed with the collective strength of the Straw Hats. Although there are many types of power and the quality level is also uneven, under the absolute quantity, a qualitative change has already been formed. The terrifying power is simply not something that can be resisted by the roar of artillery fire. Seeing that this round of bombardment was coming to an end, a sweeping attack was about to come. The tearing north wind seems to be announcing the fate of the warship. Just when the Navy's fleet was about to be burned to the ground, a bright golden light suddenly lit up on the field. The animal-type phantom beast species is in the form of the giant Buddha of the human fruit. The huge golden Buddha appeared, and the bright golden light burst out. He used his majestic body to open up a way for the Navy behind him to survive. A crisis came to an end, but Fujitora's heart fell to the bottom, but there was no trace of it. There are signs of recovery, but it is falling deeper and deeper into the abyss. You are all fine. Fujitora couldn't help but said bitterly while using his gravity sword skills to resist Zoro. Of course. The vice captain has long expected that you will take action from behind, ready to reap the benefits. How could we not be prepared at all? A triumphant voice sounded behind Zoro, giving Fujitora a finishing blow. Fell into a trap. Fujitora clenched his palms tightly, and his slightly trembling fingertips showed the turmoil in his heart. Gravity swordsmanship, Hell Brigade. The power of the Wang-Yang-like fruit surged out of his body, like a flood opening to release the flood. In the blink of an eye, the gravity of the surrounding space increased uncontrollably dozens of times. Even the control of breathing could not be controlled. With a heavy aura, Fujitora's face was as heavy as water, and he put all the accumulated gravity into the sword, and regardless of whether the sword could bear it, he just slashed out with all his strength. It brought out a jet-black slash that seemed to be able to swallow everything. The strength was average. Sauron had no choice but to dare to meet him, so he had to jump behind to temporarily avoid the sharp edge. Difficult boy. Fujitora, who finally forced Zoro back, quickly used the power of the gravity fruit to add the missing layer to himself and jumped out. Peach Rabbit, Dashki, come with me. Kizaru, stop fighting, retreat first. Gravity Knife Tiger. The same slash with the sword forced Upso back, and after giving Momo and Usagi a breather, Fujitora directly greeted the attackers and left the battle circle. Yahoo! What a terrifying attack, Fujitora, you are really strong. A golden light flashed, and Kizaru's wretched face appeared next to Fujitora. Possessing the shining fruit, his strength may be a mystery, but his speed is definitely unmatched. At least as long as he wants to leave, he can. There were definitely very few people he stopped. Fujitora closed his eyes tightly and looked deeply at the ground. Baiyu was unconscious and out of strength. His weather-beaten face was filled with fear and his expression was extremely complicated. It was as if he was experiencing some kind of battle between heaven and man. Unexpectedly, the mantis stalking the cicada, followed by the oriole, was thought to be a sure win, but the Straw Hats were so disgraced. Big Mom, even if Kaido didn't get it, he didn't even get the golden Quinra. Even the Straw Hats didn't get it. It is also possible that they fell into the trap of the other party. They looked at each other in silence, and the swords pointed at each other. In this silent confrontation, Upso, who was separated from Yan Chuangying's personality, finally came back to his senses. Looking at Baiyu's body so close at hand, even though he was so frightened by the roar of artillery fire that he was about to cry. But he still held up his body and lifted Baiyu up on his back, and ran towards the direction of everyone with a pair of constantly trembling legs. And go. Woohoo, so scary. Upso left the dust, leaving 2 long tears flying in the wind, shining brightly. Fujitora, is this operation just going to end in vain and let the Straw Hats leave? A guy wearing a green shirt, a cloak of justice, and curly hair descended from the sky. A rough voice sounded from him. His handsome face was filled with anger and indescribable fear. It's not that we let them leave, but that we simply can't catch him. Even if we are lucky enough to succeed, the price will be too serious, and it is simply not something our navy can afford. Fujitora sighed, his face with grooves and grooves, and he could not hide the helplessness in his expression. Judging from the current strength, the strength of the Straw Hats is too strong. The earlier plan was to take advantage of the Straw Hats, and Big Mom, Kaido. When the 2 pirate emperors were both losing, the navy came out to reap the benefits. However, now that the other party had obviously noticed it and prepared a response in advance, the plan was naturally difficult to maintain. Under head-on confrontation, the stronger Fire Fist Ace, even if he loses to the general, is definitely capable of entangling him. Another natural fruit owner, Eniro's Thunder Power, can entangle Kizaru again. If he wants to. If he takes action, he will definitely be held back by the green algae-headed swordsman in front of him. Although Fujitora is confident in his own strength, the opponent's swordsmanship is really outstanding and he is definitely not someone who can be defeated in a short time. The strength of the three generals, with all of them being dragged down. The other party also has Jinbi, the sea hero, who is proficient in water-based abilities and is comparable to nature-based fruits. Brooke, who manipulates the souls of skeletons. Frankie, who is good at mechanical manufacturing, has transformed into a human-like Upso. Moreover, there are three women on the other side who look cute but can actually injure Kaido with their outbursts. Although Fujitora knew about Navy hero Garp and followed Sengoku, he didn't believe that Garp he would go out of his way to kill his grandson Luffy. The above people alone are enough to hold back Sengoku, and even with some new crew members of unknown abilities, it is not impossible to destroy the Navy with tens of thousands of people. After all, since the other party knows about the Navy's ambush, it is really difficult for Fujitora not to suspect that the Straw Hats have no other arrangements. If this guy is alerted, or he is simply pretending. Quietly, silently, he used his sense of observation to observe Baiyu, who seemed to be fainting from exhaustion. Cold sweat broke out on Fujitora's rough face. However, the goal of this operation. The handsome man in a green suit has some hesitation on his face and hesitates to speak. Being able to get here is already the limit. The risk of continuing to fight is not something we can bear, Green Bull. Fujitora looked a little helpless. He didn't want to get Jin Kunluo in one fell swoop. But, as he said, the price was too high. If he really fell into an ambush by the other party, or some other scheme, these tens of thousands of Navy would be something is going to happen. I am the strongest officer of the Straw Hats. Author, Super Red. Chapter 201. This is the future of the Navy and the hope of the Navy. Fujitora can't gamble, and he doesn't dare to gamble. Once it fails, the price will inevitably be that the Navy will be completely in danger, and the internally empty Navy will also usher in a period of time when its control over the sea is weakest. The bloody sea will surely set off one bloody war after another. Although his eyes were tightly closed, Fujitora seemed to see a future filled with corpses. If it were Akainu, he might eradicate evil at all costs. But, he is Fujitora, even if he risks other people's lives, this is the future of the Navy. Tens of thousands of faces passed through Fujitora's heart, and his final choice was to retreat. Let them leave. As for that thing, there is always a chance. The Navy's goal is not only the Straw Hats, but also the endless sea. Fujitora's face was full of helplessness. Just as politics is full of compromises, so is fighting. Yes, it is indeed you. The Green Bull glanced at his mouth. He couldn't see the emotions or anger clearly on his handsome face. However, he restrained his strength in his hands obediently, making Zoro, who was nervous on the opposite side, secretly relieved. If I could choose, I would also like to get back Jin Kunluo in one fell swoop. I don't want to let the Straw Hats go so easily, but who knew that the arrangement we had prepared for so long would be known by the other party? Right? Kizaru. Fujitora looked at Kizaru next to him with a half-smile. His eyes were clearly closed, but it made Kizaru feel like he was being seen through from top to bottom. This guy. A drop of extremely fine cold sweat emerged from Kizaru's head, and was instantly wiped out by the photons escaping from his body. That's it. The Straw Hats are so sharp that they noticed our arrangement on the field so quickly. I pretended to be calm on my face, and kept laughing with Fujitora, and my already vulgar expression became even more exaggerated. But I was secretly bitter and regretful. Damn it! Why did I have to be so stupid in the first place to ambush the Navy? The news was revealed to Baiyu. As it turned out, he was tricked by this guy again. I originally wanted to work hard and clean the shit basin that Baiyu had attached to him. But as a result, the old dirty water hadn't been dumped yet. Hurry up. A new shit basin was put up again. Am I really a traitor to the Navy? Kizaru, the monkey spirit, even began to doubt himself. But I really have a heart for the Navy. I just want to wait for death and clock out from get off work every day. The villain in Kizaru's heart looked up to the sky and roared, and he always felt that the corners of his eyes were getting wet. Kizaru, what's wrong with the corners of your eyes? Injured by that guy's lightning. Fujitora raised his cane and pointed at this guy's wretched face. An unknown thing hung in the corner of his eye, shining with crystal brilliance in the sun. No, it's okay, I was just blinded by the wind and sand. Kizaru wiped the corners of his eyes without leaving a trace. Fortunately, he was covered by his glasses, which left him with the last bit of thin face, so he wouldn't shed tears in public. However, this is the sea, and the wind and sand coming from there are squinting. Fujitora didn't pick up any of the pots, said Kizaru. Kizaru's face darkened, and he struggled weakly and said, that's because you fought too hard and the sand was thrown up. The green bull on the side was too lazy to expose these two living treasures. A dignified naval admiral, a top expert in the nature department, was actually blinded by the wind and sand in the aftermath of the battle. This explanation is too nonsense. The three of them just talked like this, watching quietly as Upso ran all the way, and ran into the main army with 2 lines of tears. It was a bitter experience for warring states on the Navy warship. An old man who worked hard for many years finally retired from the position of marshal. Before he had time to enjoy his old age, he was forcibly laid off and re-employed. I originally thought I was just here to help out and be responsible for waving the flag and cheering. As a result, reality forced him to become the main force, and he was forced to bear the concentrated fire of the Straw Hats. With the ardent hopes of tens of thousands of sailors behind him, he could not retreat even one step. The body of the Buddha that looked like a shining golden light was actually suffering from internal injuries, and he was close to vomiting blood and dying. What a miserable man! It's simply sad to smell and make the listeners cry, it's so miserable. After traveling through the battlefield and experiencing a burst of lightning, Upso, who was carrying a heavy responsibility, finally met with everyone in the Straw Hats under the spotlight. Hey, they actually allowed Upso to shuttle around the battlefield with Bayou. This group of Navy didn't intend to take action. Do they want to give up? Nami, who was controlling the electromagnetic force and bouncing on her hand, said in confusion. Ho ho ho. It must be these Qinghai people who are afraid of the power of our God and are defeated by the majesty of my God. They dare not take action, so they surrender. Bayou lost his strength and fainted, and Analu's second-level state showed signs of deepening. Tisk, I think if you continue to be arrogant, you will not only show the majesty of God, but also be beaten by Bayou. The cute chopper curled his lips, super unconcerned. Ha ha ha, I think it's the Navy on the opposite side who is afraid of us. The rough and brainless Luffy rarely told the truth. Perhaps because of the lack of brain, the intuition of a certain rubber product is always extremely sensitive. However, no one present believed this. Reasonable. After all, the Navy that suppressed the entire sea seems to be a bit weak even after the war. But the impression over the years cannot be changed so easily. How could such a behemoth be so afraid of itself that it would not even take action? I dare not. It is definitely a conspiracy, a big conspiracy. Except for Enel, who is extremely good at middle school, and Luffy, who is very nervous, everyone else looked at the 3 generals and the tens of thousands of Marines behind them with wary faces. His face was extremely solemn, full of seriousness, and he did not dare to be careless. On the one hand, he was alert to possible attacks, and on the other hand, he carefully protected Bayou, who was in a coma. Right here, in the frightened confrontation between the 2 sides of the pole and the wolf. Weevaw. A huge roar sounded from the Navy warships. Under Fujitora's instructions, the fleets, with the help of the cover of the giant Buddha, sailed into the distance and disappeared at the end of the sea. I hope you can take care of yourself. The power of the world government is by no means as simple as you think. Fujitaro looked at the Straw Hats with a complex expression. The growth rate of these guys really exceeded his expectations. At first, he was quite optimistic about them and wanted to support them to compete with the old power of the four emperors of the sea. The forces formed a confrontation between the old and the new to relieve the pressure on the navy. Unexpectedly, the Straw Hats gained momentum so quickly and developed into such a huge force. If they were allowed to take over Wano country as their base again, they would probably be the second a new pirate emperor, as powerful as Whitebeard, will be born from now on. The young generation at sea now are really monsters.